I loved Danganronpa 1. Its characters, the story, the humour. It's got one of the best plots I've ever experienced in any game, and when I learned that there was a sequel, I personally couldn't wait to experience it. With the start of Danganronpa 2, it throws out all expectations that you've made from the first game, and our students are whisked away to a tropical island, and they are told that in order to return home, they must become the bestest of best friends. However, it doesn't take long for the villainous bear Monokuma from the first game to show up, who is 50% white, 50% black, and 100% insatiable murderous maniac. Monokuma then switches up the game so that the students must murder one another to escape the island, and so the game resorts to essentially the same tropes as the first. Once again, the students must murder one another in order to escape, but in doing so they must hide their identity. If they are discovered, then they themselves are killed. However, if they remain hidden, all the other students are killed instead. Much like in the first game, after each murder, a different area of the game opens up. In the first game, this was another level of the school. In this game, it's another island to explore. This being the sequel to Danganronpa 1, there is a few noticeable differences in this sequel. There is now a second soft cuddly toy, this one being a pink rabbit, and she is the one who is encouraging the students to live in harmony. She is very much the opposite of Monokuma, and as such they have a humorous rivalry. Secondly, the class trials where we try to discover who the murderer is have also been enhanced. Some of the minigames from the first game have been changed, and there are also some new additions. The biggest change, however, is that not only do you have to contradict other students' statements, but you also have to use the evidence that you've gathered to support other students' statements. This means that you have to approach the trials with a slightly different mind frame, having to use the evidence both to counteract and support statements, and it kind of flips the whole thought process on its head. Additionally, there is also a mini escape room included in this, which is similar to the escape rooms in 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, and the developers have obviously used their experience there. In addition to this, the game also encourages you to raise pets. These pets are essentially Tamagotchi in nature, with you having to keep them happy and clean up their filth in order for them to reach adulthood. These pets don't really add much to the general gameplay and can be dismissed entirely if cleaning up virtual poop isn't your bag. Additionally, in this game your character can also level up, which allows you to equip more skills to be used in the class trials. I do feel that these two new additions were kind of shoehorned into the game in order to prevent you from fast travelling around the map, much like we probably did in the first game. I say this as both raising the pets and levelling up is done by the number of steps that your character does, so you are encouraged to walk to locations rather than zipping all over like the Flash. However, both the pets and levelling up don't really add anything substantial to the game and can be dismissed entirely, so you can just zip around like Barry Allen if you want, or just walk around like a regular Joe. As usual for these types of games, the ending is absolutely crackers and bombards you with a million plot twists all at once. Personally, I didn't find that these were quite as entertaining as they were in the first game, which was a nice self-contained plot. What I will also say is if you haven't played the first game, then the ending to this one is potentially quite confusing. However, the game does give you enough information to follow along if you're paying attention. All that being said, that is just simply the end of the game, and it doesn't detract from what is otherwise an excellent experience. I really enjoyed Danganronpa 2, the murders were excellent and well thought out, and I really appreciated the new approach to the class trials that they introduced. As I say, the murders are excellent, they're incredibly well thought out, and are genuinely challenging to discover what went on. All of the characters are interesting, unique and diverse, and there's plenty of humour scattered throughout all of the mystery and intrigue. Right up until the very end, the plot was also excellent. I just feel that the ending tried to be something a bit too big than it necessarily needed to be. However, that is just a small criticism in what is otherwise an absolutely excellent murder mystery and a brilliant sequel.
Let's try going over the whole incident, beginning with right after the party started. Byakuya had us gather in the dining hall of the old building near the hotel. He was extra cautious about a murder occurring that night, because of a threatening letter he received. Therefore, he decided to throw a party so he could monitor us. Though one person didn't come, the rest of us assembled at the dining hall, and the party was underway. But at that time, the trap set by a certain someone was already in motion. They plugged 3 irons into the outlets in the storage room, which nearly capped the power usage. Additionally, they prepared something else that would activate at 11:30 p.m. The air conditioners in the office and dining hall. They had already set the timers for these. Thanks to the irons maxing out the power usage, the breaker was tripped when the air conditioners kicked on. Since the windows in the old building were covered, the blackout plunged the dining hall into total darkness. But when that happened, Byakuya took out a specific item that he brought in his case. That item was the night vision goggles. Byakuya was so concerned about a murder occurring that he brought a variety of security equipment with him. When he put on his night vision goggles, Byakuya witnessed a certain someone making a suspicious move. He saw Nagito guiding himself with the desk lamp's power cord so he could get under the table. That's right, everything up to that point was all part of Nagito's plan. The murder warning to Byakuya, the source of the blackout, it was all Nagito. While the blackout was happening, someone else, the real killer, began making their move in the kitchen. The killer probably already knew about Nagito's plan, so they knew a blackout was coming. That's why the killer prepared all the items they would need to commit their crime in the dark beforehand. They needed a light source, which was provided by the portable stove in the kitchen. They needed a weapon, too. This had also been hidden in the kitchen beforehand. The long iron skewer used in the churrasco dish. The killer hid that inside that meat with the bone in it. With the weapon and portable stove in hand, the killer stepped out into the hallway. First, they closed the fire door in the hallway so their light source wouldn't peek toward the dining hall. Then, guided by the light, the killer headed toward the storage room and grabbed a specific item. That's right, a tablecloth to block the blood splatter. With this, the killer finished their preparations and snuck under the floorboards through the secret passage. They probably turned off the portable cooking stove at that point, or left it near the entrance of the door. The floor in the dining hall is full of gaps, so there's no way they could have safely held a light source. But thanks to the glowing mark they painted earlier, the killer was able to get beneath the table. Under the table, Byakuya found the knife that had been hidden there. If only he had retreated, he probably wouldn't have gotten killed. He had to retrieve that knife, and at that moment, the killer lurking beneath the floorboard stabbed straight up with the iron skewer. The killer had been waiting in the dark for the moment when the glowing paint began to move. After they murdered Byakuya, the killer, purposefully shouted from beneath the floorboards to make it seem like they were still in the dining hall. Afterward, they came out from underneath the floorboards and rushed back to the kitchen. And then, after hiding the murder weapon in the kitchen, they rejoined the group as if nothing had happened. There's only one person who would have been able to commit this crime. Especially if that person is someone who'd think of an unexpected way to hide a weapon inside food. Isn't that right, Teru Hanamura?